everybody, this is Ann. Welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and Disembodied Hands Quindy, Disembodied Beard John, and Earful Kerniko. Alright, awesome. Yay, Disembodied Paws Kerniko is here. Hey, Erwiz, I see you there. 66 months. Very cool. Thank you so much for the resub. Oh, boyo. It's a day. And yay, no work, Kuro, yay. My husband also has no work because his job gives him an extra day off for the 4th of July. Cheaty. Very cheaty. And after a wonderful, like, mostly allergen-free day yesterday, today I'm back to this. But yeah, tomorrow we all get it. Well, Quindy and I get a day off. And many of you get a day off. So that'll be lovely. In the meantime, though, I apologize for the sneeziness. I close my window and I mostly close my door and I have my air filter on, so hopefully that'll help. Turtle. Is everybody excited for Turtle? First of all, Turtle's shell is not as vibrant as it needs to be. It needs to be just a little more yellow because his colors are intense. And I just want it just a tiny bit more yellow. So I'm going to take my, but I also need the lighting effect, right? So I'm going to take my oxide and I'm going to glaze with it just to start with. And then after that, we're going to glaze maybe with the lighting color. We'll see. So we're going to try to get this looking like it's got to look. So I probably should shake this up more because the oxide yellow tends to separate. Hey, Georgian. Yeah, we had fun yesterday. Yeah. That's when you celebrate Jeff Goldblum saving the world. Is that the new Jurassic Park? Is it Jeff Goldblum saving the world? Because I always liked his character the best anyway, honestly. So we're going to do a 1-to-1. Just 1 drop of water and 1 drop of that little oxide. And it's a documentary, right? Alright, so 1-to-1, way too strong. So since the oxide is a clear bright, which means it's a pure pigment paint, it's way over pigmented. So we need to add actually more water. So I'm going to add another drop of water. And I think I might add our light color straight up. So I need to get my, I've been using Glacier plus white. No, not Surf Aqua. No, not Spectral Glow. I swear. There we go, Glacier Blue. It looks like Spectral Glow because it's mixed with the green on his skin, right? So I'm gonna see what these make. If I don't like them, then I'll change it. But I'm actually gonna add a drop of our light color and a little white because technically it's Glacier plus white. That's gonna increase coverage on this. That white is, so I'm gonna have to add more water. But maybe we can tune it. So let's see what it turns into. Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, it's a little more vibrant. I think I need just a little more oxide. But when you're doing colored lighting, you have to like figure out just a little more yellow. Yeah, that's a little better. may just paint this on. I may just touch up with it and see what I can do. And then I'm actually going to create another highlight on top of it. Oh my god. Oh, very rude horsefly. I hate those things. Huge, buzzy, nasty black things. I hated horseflies when I was a kid. I never got bitten, but I was like, they freaked me out because they were just too big. They were too big for a fly to be. Fun summer flick. 3rd or 4th in the list of 7. That's too bad. It's too bad that Jeff Goldblum... He's probably just sick of the franchise at this point. But he's like, well, it's reliable money. Or maybe he just really likes dinosaurs. I have not kept up with the franchise in general, so... Because I'm terrible about that. What? Where did I put my glasses? Damn it. Alright. Oh, there they are. Aha. You didn't think Jeff Goldblum was in them anymore? Yes, that's right. They replaced him. So I'm going to try... I don't think that's going to work. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this. Which is the way of the Aeon is. What is the best way to get the effect that I want? And I think... maybe I should have just gone with my initial gut, which was just to glaze really lightly with the yellow and then highlight. Start in 2 and 6. Yeah, I remember 2. I did not see 6. So let's see. Let's see what Turgeon says. He says 1. Well, 1 is obviously always the best. Surprised you think that 4 is second, huh? All right. So at least this is in the top 50%. So really, Turgeon just he's a Jeff Goldblum hater, because Jeff Goldblum movies are the last 2. That's all right. I mean, I don't really have a dog in this race. But I thought he was a pretty good chaos scientist in 1, so I want more yellow. It's not yellow enough, dang it. It's not yellow enough. If I'm going to glaze, I want it to be punchy. There we go, it's a little better. Alright, let's try that. Alright. Yeah, I don't know. I just know that this is not saturated enough, so essentially I need to do something. We're going to try the original scary idea, which was glazing with the pure oxide. Alright, so by glaze, I mean it is colored water. And by taking advantage of like a palette or tile near you, you can see how thin it's going to be when you put it on over things. So this is pretty darn thin. If I brush it on really, really thin, it's really only gonna like leave a slight film. So I might be able to work with this. So I'm gonna try it on this side. Jeff is good in everything. Yeah, Cornico. Fist bump. Yes. Yes, 1 is a masterpiece, the rest is a blur. Yep, yeah, that's kind of my feeling too. So I'm going to just brush this on, guys. Just brushing it on. Now, I don't have a whole lot of contrast and texture done on this part. Now, it's going to look really yellow. Okay, that's fine. I haven't wicked off the excess yet, so... Never panic when you put on a glaze. It's easy to panic when you see it like take over the surface like that. But remember, when you thin an acrylic, they're always going to dry like lighter and more transparent than they look. So once it dries, it's not going to be nearly that punchy. But I already feel like this is closer to what I wanted. Thanks for the bump. And I think I'm going to add more white to this other color that I mixed and use it to highlight a bit more before I throw that color on there. Hey, we all have actor preferences and unpreferences. I will admit I have more unpreferences than preferences. Meaning there are some actors I just can't watch. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. I cannot take either of them seriously as a love interest. I know that DiCaprio is a good actor. It doesn't matter. I just can't. I can't, guys. I know about. Maybe I'll like DiCaprio when he gets older and his appearance changes. Except that, these days with plastic surgery, they never look older, right? Not till they're 80. With the addition of dinosaurs. Kerniko. So you're channeling your inner 5-year-old in perpetuity. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Legit. I say this is legit. So I added white to my first color that I mixed up just so I could get some more highlights on this. Alright, so that's the colors we're working with. We're going to be glazing with the oxide. This is a mixture of the oxide, the glacier, and the white, which is much more affected by the overall ambient light. And I'm going to mix an even lighter version of that, I think. Yeah, I think you could campaign, for government on that slogan, Kuro, and you'd get a fair number of votes. More dinosaurs. Well, the air filter seems to be helping with my sneeziness. That's good. It's not fair that David gets to sit and play video games all day, and I have so much Patreon stuff to work on. So much. I'm gonna whine a little. Whine. I still get a 3-day weekend, so I really can't whine. He's a fantastic actor that I just can't watch. Oh, I'm just glad I didn't actually see The Revenant. I heard about that scene and went noped out. But I used to say that my favorite, that the only reason I liked Titanic at all was that at least Leonardo DiCaprio dies at the end. So I'm terrible. Terrible. And I also didn't really like Titanic, so yeah. Forget the attack of the Allied pterosaurs at the Battle of Midway, yes. If there had been Allied pterosaurs at the Battle of Midway, I'll tell you what, every grade school child would be loving to learn about history. You don't tell me I'm wrong. Michael. Hey, I'm not afraid to take an unpopular stance, admitting it's totally my own and that I might be way out there. But, we all have the right to be our own little special, opinion snowflakes. My snowflake opinions just tend to be that way. So we didn't get to highlighting a lot of this. I highlighted some of it last time, so that's part of the problem here. You're mad with Tom Cruise? I am also kind of mad with Tom Cruise. He doesn't get my true hate vote, can't watch vote, But he definitely, like, it's hard to suspend my disbelief with Tom Cruise. I'm like, I know how old you really are. And also that you're a weirdo. He's never been, like, my kind of, like, attractive anyway. I'm much more a Johnny Depp type. Younger Johnny Depp. CJ. Yep. Oh my god, fried green tomatoes with a dinosaur. It would be a domesticated pet dinosaur. It would be a dinosaur like like a golden retriever, like Dinostopia dinosaur. I'm not like a total hate. Like, he doesn't go on my can't watch list. I have to just put my brain on vacation. He's one of those actors where he still looks the same after, he's older than I am. Alright, so after looking at these, I definitely like this color better than that color. It's just a little bit more vibrant. I think that's the way I'm going to go. So I'm going to grab my glaze and I'm going to start painting it over the areas of the shell. Trailers for the last Mission Impossible, only for another to come out. Yeah, fair. Well, people still watch, so... I mean, obviously he has fans. So I'm going to just brush this yellow really lightweight over all of the beige surfaces on the model. It's going to warm him up a bit. Yeah, when he was younger, I actually didn't. I think that's why he's not on my hate list, is because, yeah, a lot of his younger movies. I liked Interview with the Vampire, too. I thought he did well in that movie. Also, probably my favorite Brad Pitt movie. I'm going to get some liner out so I can touch up. I can see areas of the shell that I didn't get. Yeah, good in Legend. Yep. When he was younger, I liked his movies quite a bit. I didn't have a problem with him. That's when I decided that Brad Pitt just needed good direction. Yup. Yeah. I thought Brad Pitt was really good in Interview. But I think as an actor, you run that risk of being, just kind of slotted into, like, the meme that you fit, right? Like the leading man meme, where then you have to play a certain type of character. And I think Interview with the Vampire was definitely a different beast in that, and I respect that. I respect that movie. Legend was good, yeah. Good morning, Rach. We're talking about actors that we really can or can't watch. So there's some divisive opinions here. We started out talking about how the new Jurassic Park movie was out, and Kuroniko's stance that every movie would be improved through the addition of dinosaurs. So we're moving right along. I'm a little sneezy today, so pardon my Kleenex. Earthworm lips. That's right. We've talked about the earthworm lips before. Oh man. Yeah, like when Brad Pitt is allowed to go outside of genre, like then you see what he can do, right? Then you can, and he is a good funny actor. Like I think he's quite good with humor, and he gets. I feel like he gets underrated on that. I don't know. I totally was able to like see him as Lestat in Interview, and I was much happier that way. I've always envisioned Lestat to be actually in his 20s, so I found Tom Cruise playing him to be just fine. And as an author, I can say, all your readers are going to see your characters differently than you do. So you can tell me that he's 17, but I'm still envisioning him as an older character. Not older, but, like in his 20s. Mostly because, to me, 17-year-olds are still kids. And I can't envision Lestat as a kid. He has to be at least 22. So there's areas here definitely where I need to choose line to line here. Between shell plates. So over here on the side, I just put that shadow in. I just think Brad is a decent actor. I think he's... he's at least got breadth, right? He can do comedy, and he can do stuff that's more serious. And he can do the romance, and he can do the leading man thing. Yes, I would say I would be more inclined to see a movie with Brad Pitt in it than Tom Cruise. Agree. Oh, that what was in the box couldn't be changed because he knew the studio would try and did. Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, he understands. He understands Hollywood. But when you're an A-list star, at least you can make those, You can say that. You're like, I'm on board, but only if. And then stick to your guns. And when you've got as much money as he does at this point, or should, you can afford to draw those lines. You're not young and hungry and desperate. Have you guys noticed, are there less new movies coming out? Because I have a friend, one of my old college friends, is actually a bit part actress in Hollywood. She actually lives in LA. And she said that lately, there's been, TV and movies has been really in a slump as far as, starting new projects. So she's actually been doing stage acting instead. I'm sorry, I need to put my camera up a little bit. This guy is big and I keep getting out of frame with him. After she told me that, I just sent her a happy birthday and asked her what was up with herself, and that's when she mentioned she was doing Much Ado About Nothing. I think she's actually Beatrice too. She's got the starring female role. Ah, I see. Way over budget and then don't perform. Mm-hmm. They're getting into that, it's like they're going the way, because the entertainment conglomerates tend to own publishers as well as, moving media. And it makes me wonder if they're all, going for the publishing model, which is, publish a zillion bad books to get one blockbuster, which pays for everything else. Except I wonder if these days, if it does, right? Does it really pay for everything else these days? With all the different things that people can split their time, like looking at and watching and giving their hours to? So I'm just going to highlight a bit here where the ridges come out. The light's going to fall down through there. Like that better. Yes, it would be. Yes, it would be a good model if they made $30 million. And I wonder if that's the way it's going. Yeah. Hey there, Thormel. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. If they were doing some lower budget films, then they could do, because that's what happened in publishing. Is you used to be able to like get an advance of 10 or 20 grand for your first novel, whatever. Now it's down to like $3,000, $5,000. Like it's just pretty much, that's why you're seeing so much indie publishing. It's just not worth it to even go trad. And even if you get published with your first book, if you don't earn out, there's a high chance they'll just drop you anyway, and you've lost the rights to your first book. I think most contracts do have a buyback clause where the rights revert if they don't use them. But these days that's dicey because if they leave the book in ebook, with ebooks around, you can leave the book in print for forever. And so the rights used to revert if they weren't exercising them, but now if they just leave the ebook in print, it costs them nothing, and so your rights don't revert. So there's like some kind of dicey crap with traditional publishing. Yeah, well, and honestly, I'm running into this pretty hardcore at this point with my own life. There's so much stuff I would like to consume. I would like to find the time to watch. You don't have the hours. You don't have the hours. None of us are getting younger. We have to be picky and choosy about what we do with our time, right? And so there's just so much. There's conspiracy theories. I don't know how valid they are. But I do know that, the average advance has dropped. Plummeted. Alright, so just picking out the edges there. I like the yellow a little bit. You can see the old color up there is more brown, but I like the more intense yellow. I might do another glaze, actually. I knew about Chris Pine. I remember you mentioning Chris Pine before, Wendy. He's Guardians of the Galaxy, right? That's Chris Pine. New Star Trek as well. Mm-hmm. Oh, Chris Pine also D&D movie. Chris Pratt. Okay, Chris Pine was D&D movie. Yeah, I was not... I liked the D&D movie, itself, but I did not like him particularly. I thought he was not the best cast. But still loved D&D movie. I thought it was very clever. And also Hugh Grant was wonderful. Got it. Pine was the new Kirk. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the new Kirk either. Thanks, guys. I just don't watch movies enough to, like, know all the actors. All the newer actors. Yeah, Chris, I was gonna say, like... That's annoying that there's two Chris's and they're both P names. How am I supposed to keep track? I mean, it's hard enough to keep track of all these people. Yes, I know. He was so good. He was so good as a villain. Yeah, I like Hugh Grant. I also like Pierce Brosnan. Like I like them because they have a complete sense of humor about it all. And it comes through on the screen. Like, honestly, Pierce Brosnan Bond was one of my favorite Bonds. Even though Daniel Craig is hot as hell. Seriously. Okay, we're going to glaze over the rest of this yellow with our yellow oxide. Bring it up a notch. Kick it up a notch. Bam! Or emerald it. So that's a little better. I still feel like it could be yellower or greener, whatever. I can still work on it. Putting some shading on. Just trying to get this yellow right. There's too many Chris's then. Too many Chris's! Obviously, Chris was a common name in that generation, huh? And I probably shouldn't put highlight there. There's shadows, but I wanted to. Kronika is funny. Oh, sniffly. Very sniffly. Man, it was so good yesterday. My allergies just disappeared. But now they're back. Alright, I want to blend in this line of liner that I've got. It's kind of annoying. I might have to grab some white and just do that. If you've accidentally blocked in stuff with brown liner and you've kept like a sharp line and it keeps showing through your paint, really the only thing to do is to go over it with a very light color or a white color. Maybe I'll try my highlight color and try to brush over it with that to interrupt that edge. Because whenever you've got that hard edge, let me see what I mean. See that hard edge here? So whenever you've got that, the key is you've got to interrupt it. So if I can interrupt it with stripies going across it and breaking it up, then I should be able to bring my color back in. Then we'll bring the yellow in over the top and we'll no longer see that line. We have lightened that up a lot though. So we might need to just do a little bit of darkening down. There we go. We've erased that line, so that's good. Need to put some lining between the head and the shell as well. Feel like you need to get in focus at that level. Now I have to look up. I don't know that. I do not know that name. Hold on. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. He's not my type. He's good in the suit. He's like when he's clean cut. When he's clean cut. Yeah, okay. I don't like him when he's scruffy, though. Just reminds me of every Wisconsin redneck guy in my high school. Ah. It's true, Kerniko. It's true. Okay, maybe my college, but you know what I mean. I guess I wouldn't have many redneck guys in my college, though. But you get it. He just looks Wisconsin to me. He looks Midwest. Where's he from? Now I need to know. No, he was... Oh, no, English. All right, he's British. That makes him slightly more tolerable when he's scruffy, actually. British, you can be scruffy. If you're Irish or Scottish or British, you can be scruffy in that way, and it's okay. Yeah, totally changes my mind about him, actually. Because then he's probably got the accent to go with it, right? So... But yeah, otherwise my guess would have been like, if he wasn't British, my guess would have been like Midwestern, and I would have been like, eh. Oh dear. Oh. This is fun. Yeah, I mean the accent will change things, right? Like you know, appearance might be like, meh, and then they open their mouth and you're like, oh, all right, I'm interested. Like. You intrigue me. Again, there's little bits of this shell that are kind of separate. Sorry for futzing around so much on the shell, guys. I just not opened. I opened this project again and was like, I don't like that color. That's where I was this morning. I started playing a sorcerer on Diablo last night for the first time. I had never tried that class, and I'm like, wait, why do the sorcerers get all the good-looking characters, and everybody else in Diablo is fugly? But it's like, if you have magic... My favorite thing in Diablo, and David rolls his eyes at me, but my favorite thing in Diablo is like playing a rogue or a sorc. Playing a character that can wear a fancy dress, and then essentially running around in Diablo in a fancy dress, killing demons. Like, I think that this is the pinnacle of my gaming enjoyment. Thormel. It's fine. Like, you don't need to stand up for any of the rednecks in, you know, like, when I was growing up. That's what I'm channeling there. It's the past, Thormel. And keep in mind that, like, my relatives are mostly rednecks. I'm intensifying my yellow a little more, guys. Just to test it out. I think I'm just really having trouble with the fact that I've muted this, and unlike my other turtle, the yellow was only a tiny part, and this turtle, the yellow is everywhere. And I think that's part of why I'm having issues between the intensity of the skin and the muted yellow. But I think I'm going to have to, like, just paint the other stuff. I doubt it, Thormel. I'm not really in the mood. I looked up actual turtles, but they just weren't really, like, what I wanted to do. I did decide I was going to go for maybe a painted turtle kind of look with kind of a dark blue-black with, like, yellows and reds on the shell. That's what I was kind of thinking. But I didn't want to, like, I looked at sea turtles and I didn't like it. Painted turtles are cute. They're mostly dull on the backs, I guess. I guess it's the underside of the shell that they have more reds and oranges, but I don't know, I'm just going to do my thing. I'm going to mostly do a dark shell with more colors on the back. Yeah, because most turtle shells aren't that exciting. Not in real life. Like, there are some sea turtles with really cool ones. But, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Yeah, the problem with a lot of these stock images, I really can't tell how photoshopped they are. I mean, sea turtle can have some really pretty colors, right? And then there's this little guy. He's adorbs. He's really adorbs. But, you know, so much of the time it's really hard. Oh, is this a baby painted? I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to tell what's real on some of these pictures, so I'm just meh. And I don't know turtle species enough. Well, he's also got a bunch of stuff on his back. Bringing up more yellow just to see what it looks like. Oh well. I'm going to try something else. The thing is that it's going to bleach out under the light, so. But yeah, I always liked painted turtles. Those are the turtles we had around when I was growing up. Oh, it was gory, huh? Yeah, I mean, this is a Weeby sculpt, and Weeby does his animal research, Thormel. Like, he knows his critters. and loves them. And he pays attention to stuff like that. So I'm not surprised. I'm just mixing up my light color, guys, real quick, just so I can put some touches of it onto the shell and kind of see how it translates. I've been using a light yellow and I shouldn't be. I should be using my blue. Yeah, I think Jason, especially once he went digital, like that freed him up a lot. Alright, now let's actually get some real blue in here for highlights. Because that's the thing, I can't go too saturated on this yellow because the light is a different color. So I've got to interpret that. You could totally paint that, Turgeon. You can totally paint that. I will not. Get the blue around there. Blue all around the edges. Koga Garcia, you're funny. So I'll probably be streaming Saturday, guys. Since I'll have tomorrow off to just chill and do other stuff. You should be able to make it on Saturday. Good, Quindy. Yay! I get a Quindy on Saturday. Yay! Great. We'll continue trying to paint that goth girl red hair on Morgana. Maybe. Add a little bit of blue down here. And that's going to not get colder right away, as putting these blue highlights is. Okay, let's get on the other side of this shell. I think I'm at a point where I can just highlight with this blue and then we'll just move on to the back of the shell maybe. Yeah, I don't enjoy gore. I was trying out a new, like, progression fantasy and on Royal Road, and the writing was really good, but I dropped it because there was just too much graphic violence. And I was like, nope. It was one of those, it was kind of like a manga, mecha kind of, superhero kind of thing. It was cool. It was like Pokemon manga kind of weird superhero thing, but it was
it, like, when it started, I thought it was going to be more like a superhero academy thing, which I would love, but it turned out that they apparently, the writer decided that, you know, dealing with the school stuff was just too boring, or they couldn't write it, or they didn't know how to write it, so then they just kept throwing, like, bombs into the plot, so that there kept having to be tons of violence, and I was just like, nopes. And I actually left a review, which was mostly positive because the writing was really good, characters were good, but yeah, just too violent for me. And I was not the only person who said that they were disappointed that there wasn't more Academy stuff. But, you know, if that person wants to write that story, then that's the story they're going to write. It's just I'm not going to read it. Yeah, I think you can go way overboard with gore for sure. Books and movies. All right. A little bit of highlighting here. Most of the underside of the shell is pretty in shadow, but into the edges. I'm probably going to end up going probably blue liner on the shell, like something, I want something really dark. And maybe a mixture of blue liner and walnut. Yeah. Yeah, book gore, I don't know. It can be over the top too for me. Like, it needs to really help the story if it's there. And I just see inexperienced writers throw it around a lot. Like, gore does not actually equal action or tension. I feel like a lot of younger writers don't get that as much. Alrighty. Let's get our blue liner out. Let's mix a little white into it. I want to kind of use that as a basic color, and then I want to get, oh, we could use coal black. We haven't ever used coal black, have we? It's kind of a teal, bluey teal. Let's do that. Let's use coal black. I need to shake it really well because I don't think I've used this paint. Yeah. That's funny, Thormel. Alright, coal black. Coal black is a black teal for the most part. More on the blue side as I recall. And we can use it straight, or if we want to be able to shade it, we can add a tiny bit of white to it. Tiny bit of white will bring out its actual color a little bit more. Don't want to add very much. Yeah, that's fair, Quindy. A little bit of water, and then let's mix in that white. The white hardly impacted it, but you can kind of see at the edges. Let's get this out here and pull it out. Let's see that as kind of a dark greeny blue. That's about the color that I was thinking. So we'll use that. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. We'll agree to disagree on that one. I don't like to see all of the gory nasty in my books. But you guys know that just from seeing what I write. Most writers are writing what they like to read, so. Alright, let's put this pretty color on. Such a pretty color. It's not actual. I didn't want to use an actual black. And the dark tealy color should work really well with the moss and the mushrooms and the flowers. And it should work okay with the skin as well, which has gone kind of teal. But it won't clash because it's darker, right? We've changed value. So you can use colors that are very close to each other on the color wheel if they are very different in value. Value is one of the three kind of characteristics of color. The main one is hue, which is going to be like, is it red, is it blue? And then value is going to tell you, is it dark, is it light? And then intensity is going to tell you whether it's muted or vibrant, saturated, high chroma. There's lots of different ways to kind of put that. High chroma is probably the better term. Saturation is actually relative. Yes, it is indeed Thursday, Richard. And tomorrow is a day off for me and Quindy and the stream in general, and Reaper's birthday. So this is a little greener than it's looking on my camera. The coal black. Cameras generally have a hard time with teals. They tend to shift them either bluer or greener. Yeah, that's a lot of us are challenged in value, like as far as the learning to think of values in our painting, both in how dark we make our shadows and just in the general colors we choose. A lot of us start by just choosing colors that are all kind of in the mid-range of value, like 4 through 7. And we don't reach for very dark hues or lighter hues. Or sorry, lighter values or dark values. You know what I mean. But it is one of the key ways you can have colors work together, even colors that normally don't like each other. So it's really a good idea to stretch your understanding of value and stretch the values that you use on your models. It's a pretty dark teal. It looks bluish. It looks bluish, and it is bluish, but it's in person, it's more greenish. It's much more of a dark teal than a dark blue. It's looking a lot more blue on camera. But that is, in general, cameras for ages, cameras have had trouble interpreting teal. They tend to see it one way or the other. Can make it very hard to photograph a model that's painted teal. So we get the edges in here. I'm going to do starting dark and then working light is different than choosing to like, it's a little bit different than choosing like your main color to be a dark blue, right? Like if you start dark with a lot of your colors, it could just be, as you say, but you're meaning to paint a dark blue. If you're meaning to paint a dark blue and then your blue ends up a medium blue, yeah, then you're right. You're covering up your shadows. But the key to understand and to always remember is that whatever color you want it to look, it has to, 50% of the surface has to be that color. Or very close to that color. So if you want something to be a dark red, you have to keep 50% of the surface dark. And that doesn't count shadows, because that's a different value. When you're painting a near black, then 75% of the surface needs to be that. Because your shadows are black, your midtone is near black, that's 50%. Shadows 25%. And then 25% is your highlight. You can go up to like 30, 35% with your highlight, but the more highlighting you do on a dark color, the lighter that color is going to look. I think that's going to be a good color for his shell, base color, and then I'm going to take some white and underpaint the patterns, the swirls here, and we're going to make those different colors. That's the plan, anyway. But yeah, when you paint dark to light, it's very easy to inadvertently cover up your shadows. You just got to remember to keep them there. And if it's that you're losing your shadows, remember that like roughly 25% of the surface should be shadows. And if you aim for that, even if you miss that number, if you at least keep like 15%, you'll at least have the shadows there. The most common thing is that people lose their midtones. But there's plenty of like people who also, as you say, cover over their shadows. And then there are some of us, like me, I have to constantly remind myself to push my shadows, because I tend to go very mild with them. And sometimes I want a more dramatic look. I have to make myself paint that more dramatic look. Alright, that's all moss, 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 moss. Oh, there's a bit of shell showing there. I'm using a number 2 brush here, but it has a good enough tip that I can come in and get these small areas without too much overpaint. I got a little bit on that mushroom cap, but that's okay. Oh, Richard. Are you at least painting a druid or a ranger? I was watching a color theory video a couple days ago, and it got me interested in the transparent iron oxide color. I noticed that there were companies putting it out, including Golden Open, and I was like, And it turns out people use it for limited palette. They'll use the transparent iron oxide with like ultramarine blue, and black and white, and they'll just try to do like painting with that. Or they'll add in like a cadmium yellow light to that, and they'll use the red oxide as their red, kind of like we're doing with Gnome King. He had some interested limited palette ideas in that video. But now I'm interested to get some transparent red oxide. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. Yeah, it's a good color. And as we add other colors and all of this like gets factored in, I may end up liking the skin a bit more. You never used to be like this. It's all my fault. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll own it. I'll own it, Richard. All you need to do though, like, you know, when you're doing those mixes, is just like learn, okay, if I mix this and this, but then I do this, I get muddy, right? And if I do this and this, then that's the color I get. Sorry. Allergy attack. But yeah, I may regret doing the whole the colored light on this if I'm gonna go crazy, because with my other turtle I just went green for the shell. But here we've got a lot more contrast, and I wanted that moss to also go greener, so going darker with the shell makes sense. But we've departed already from our previous turtle, so need to get some shadow. Speaking of shadows, and lining. He's a rogue. Ah, okay. His lifestyle is very rangery. So you're a wilderness rogue, a non-urban rogue. That's cool. Are your party going to grief you about that? Are they going to keep calling you the ranger, even though you're not one? I have been in parties that would do that. Yeah, rural rogue. Cool. One of these days I still want to play an urban druid. Maybe I just need to write a story. Just lining around the necklace there. My liner's pretty thin, so I'm not getting a real heavy line there. I did want to do a little bit more shading. They always cause you grief one way or another. Yeah, fair. Fair. Speaking of adding in shadows, this arm is going to cast a shadow. I can't think about that idea too long, or the character's going to pop into my head, and then I'm going to have to write a book about her. This is the way my brain works. Dropping brushes everywhere. Oh, got a bit of a blurf there, but let me grab some water. So got a shadow there. I'm putting in a darker shadow over here. I'm going to put a darker shadow over here. I'm mixing my brown liner with my yellows to try to block in darker shadows here. Dark and dark. So getting those shadows in darker. So doing a little bit of a bunch of different things today with this. There's this little texture in the underside of the shell that I really don't want to highlight because it's in the shadows. So instead I'm going to take my brown liner mixed with the yellow and I'm going to line it really lightly. Because you can always shade if you can't highlight. Because I want to be able to see like the texture here because Jason has put such great texture in. But I don't want to use a full liner on it. I want the creases here to be darker than the shading on that. So I'm kind of doing mixes of like my yellow oxide and my brown liner. There's just enough red pigment in the brown liner for it not to go terribly green when I make that mix. It ends up looking like that instead. So it's definitely a muddy kind of brown, but I just need something that's a little bit darker, not as dark as liner, so I can line around some of the texture in there. You can see the little bit of lines. And then I can put a little bit of highlighting. Here and there. Don't want to go too light with it. That can go a little bit. I was reading or listening to a book yesterday that just made me happy that, like, nobody in my close family has had, like, a health emergency. Knock on wood. It's about an older lady who took up obstacle course racing. But she got very derailed by a lot of, like, health issue stuff in her family. Also health issue stuff. It just made me happy that my parents are in pretty good shape. And that David's are as well. Although, honestly, my dad's driving. Like, I really should just get a rental car. Soon, I'm not going to, like, let them pick me up from the airport anymore. Do you ever have those terrified moments with your parents in driving? Or did you, if your parents have passed? Like, that more than anything, I think, has gotten me to understand that my parents are getting older. Like, just my dad's driving. That's all. Hopefully he's not watching. He never watches, so I'm safe. That's a little bit too strong. Okay. A little bit more blue highlighting down on the edges. That's looking better. Yeah, for sure, Marich, for sure. Yep. Mine isn't quite there yet. And of course, I live pretty far away from all of them. My brother's the one who's closer to my parents as far as distance goes. They live very close, at least for the part of the year they're in Wisconsin. All right, so backing up. Yeah, as I add other colors, the yellow will distract me less, and I'm going to get less annoyed at it. I still feel like I want it a little warmer, a little bit different direction, but it's starting to harmonize with other things, so we'll see how it continues to, like, go. If I have to go and paint it more of a beige, then I can. If I have to, like, put a browner glaze over it, I can, but... Oh no, I did it again. Oh no, Kerniko. Yeah, I don't know. I get the feeling we're gonna have to pry the keys out of my dad's hands. But we'll see. I always respected my great aunt. She gave up her car voluntarily before she had to. She's just like, I would rather give it away now than have them take it away. She actually gave it to me. Yeah, it's well and good until they end up as headline news, yep. I just want, all I'm saying is by the time I'm old enough where I need to, like, stop driving, I want self-driving cars to be a thing. Like, I want the mobility. I cannot wait. I know some of you maybe think I'm crazy, but I cannot wait until Waymo actually serves, like, until I get included on their to drive list. I signed up. I was just like, please Waymo, take me to the airport, Waymo. Oh my God, Korniko, yeah. People, they will lie about the most, when it comes to accidents. Like, I learned this the hard way. The lady who actually backed into me and then claimed, like, screaming in the parking lot about how it was my fault. And I whipped out my camera and just started taking pictures, and then she shut up fast. Because it was very evident from the positioning of the cars that it was not my fault. Yeah, self-driving cars would help people stay independent. It's huge. I mean, it could be a huge thing. I'm, like, all in. I want it. Like, I'm there. I think that in most cases, they're safer than humans. The Waymo stuff, at least, is going really well. Some of the other, like, I know some other self-driving programs do not have nearly as good results. But I have high hopes for Waymo. I'm just crossing fingers. We have a lot of them around here. And Mountain View is technically in their service area. It's just that the airport isn't, so I can't get an airport ride. Does it? See, that's why I kind of want to start taking rides with them, Richard. Like, just little places around here, so that I get used to it, right? Because, like, I used to be terrified to step on an airplane. Like, there have definitely been moments where I'm just terrified of flying, convinced that I'm going to go down in a fiery ball of doom. But, like, I feel like if I start taking rides with them, that it's going to help. And the other thing, to be very, very honest, guys, as a female, I would be far happier getting into a taxi that was self-driving instead of having some strange guy in the front seat. And that's maybe irrational, but it's where I'm at, right? Yeah, you could have the self-driving car take you home instead of... Yes, exactly, Marie. Exactly, yeah. Computers crash too much. Yeah, I don't know. Like, we just have to see how it is. Like, I want to see the data. I want to see, like, and again, different programs, like different companies' programs are having different results for sure. Yeah, there would be a cheap and cheerful one which wasn't actually safe. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I can't call you wrong. Our choice shouldn't be between creepy taxi drivers and Skynet. I know, but I'm willing to, like, take a chance with Skynet. I am. I'll admit it. Like, but yeah, I want to see the actual, like, data. I want to see, like, accident rates and crash rates. And I know there was one that was kind of stuck somewhere the other day. That it just, like, it's programming it, like, it didn't know how to get out of where it had gotten into. But, I mean, that's why they're not, available, right? I think, though, that they are, in general, Waymo's doing a really good job of trying to, like, future-proof and like, computer, like, to proof all their design. Like, they've been working on this for a very long time now, and they still haven't pushed it, like, public, and... they're doing very limited runs. And I think that's because they know that one really bad thing happening at this point will completely destroy it. Like, we won't have self-driving cars for decades after that. You thanked Alexa for info when she started singing. That's funny. You have flown on Ryanair. Interesting. See... That's interesting, Thormel, because we have a ton of them around here. And what I have found when walking, running, and walking Kiki is that they are way overcautious of, like, bikes, people, dogs, unusual things in the environment. Like, they err on the side of, like, if you were in the car, you might be annoyed that it was slowing down and being so cautious because there's a bike right there, or it is, keeping such a big distance. At least for the Waymos, that's the way. And they'll, like, just stop. Like, if you're standing at a corner, the Waymo's going to sit there and wait to see what you're going to do. Like, it's not going to just go. Like, if there was anybody inside of that, they'd be going, turn already! Yeah, public projects. I'll agree with you on that. I don't know. I still have hope. I will admit, I'm definitely pro the idea. Because older people and having the freedom to go around, because hospital rides when you're alone and you don't have anybody to depend on, because all that stuff, right? Like, I've had to beg a friend to take me home from a surgery because I didn't have anybody else. Like, it's a thing, right? And that kind of thing would be what it's good for. Yes, the dinosaur. You want to commute via Styracosaurus. Yeah, okay. Well, keep working on that, Kerniko. Like cloning and resurrecting ancient creatures. It's inching along. Yeah, they're really cautious. Like the cars here, the Waymos here are really cautious. There's I found out there's a big Google building that's right, like, along my running route that I always wondered what it was, and I actually found out that it's the Moonshot program, which is what Waymo used to be a part of. And so that's why I probably always see Waymos around there. Like, and so I'm running in a parking lot, and the Waymo is coming, and the Waymo will just slow down, and it'll really slow down, and it'll stop, it'll kind of look at me. And I'll usually move over, but it won't move past me until I move over a lot. Like, it's not going to even get close. Yeah, dragons are right there. But yeah, so maybe that's why I trust them more, because I've had, like, interactions with them as a pedestrian a lot. And I see how very, like, how careful they are. So, yeah, dragons are right there. All right, everybody wants dragons. Got it. I can't blame you. I also would want a dragon if it were, if you offered me self-driving car or dragon, probably going to take dragon. Gotta admit it. Gotta be honest. Thanks, y'all. So yeah, we got some stuff done on them. At least we're moving along. I like the colors much better now than I did before. I do feel like maybe I need to, like, just mute out his green just a little bit. Much as I love that beautiful emerald color, I feel like it's still fighting a little bit. And if I took the saturation down just a tad more, I think we'd have it. So, debating that right now in my head. Just a little bit, and it would work. Also going to need to add some definite lights and darks along the other stuff, because the green started out darker, but now the shadows on the yellow have made the yellow about the same value as the green, just slightly lighter. So either I need to lighten up that or I need to just make sure that other stuff on the model is very light, very dark. I need to vary that stuff up to make sure that we can have a decent amount of value changes on the model, but having the shell be dark, that's already a better change right now. So yeah, so I'm liking this. Yeah, no stream tomorrow. When we get back on Monday, we're gonna, do we even still, yeah, we've still got eyeballs, I guess. Black and eyeballs on this figure. So we're gonna finish up Celestial on Monday, and then he'll go to basing. But we're very, very close. So I hope y'all, if you're in the States, I hope you have a good 4th of July weekend. I'll see you Saturday on twitch.tv/paintingbig. If you want to hang out with me, I will be painting probably Morgana, probably working around with those open paints a little bit more, but we'll see. I might do Fairy Dragon if I'm kind of inspired. I haven't decided. I hope you all have a great one in any case. And yeah, I will be back for sure on Monday. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great one.